Parish Commission is now called to order. Roll call, Mr. Spears.
Well, I believe.
Jefferson.
Here.
Mr. Escaday.
Here.
Mr. Jenkins.
Present.
Mr. Lynn.
Present.
Ms. Lynch.
Here.
Ms. McCullough. Mr. Pearson. Present. Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Thibodeau.
Here.
Have a quorum, Madam President.
Let us stand for our invocation by Commissioner Escaday and praise and allegiance by Commissioner Dominique.
Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, be with us today as we conduct the business of the parish and the people. I want to thank you for all the blessings you bestowed upon our nation, allowing us to be here, be free, and celebrate the 4th of July, our Independence Day as a country and a nation. I want you to especially remember and look after all the men and women who wear uniforms in protection and service of this country. Be with them and sustain their families. Help us do our work in a manner that's pleasing to you. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Place the flag and repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's fast.
Are there any agenda additions? Commissioner Lynn?
Yes. I'd like to move to add to Thursday's agenda, Tree Corpse Yvonne Lee. Vote to allow me to bring that up.
Second. He has a motion to bring up new business to add a visitor for Thursday.
Visitor? I have a question. Okay. What's it about?
She said she wanted to do a presentation. I do not know what it's about. I don't know. About Shreveport. It's a division of Shreveport Green.
Is it emergency?
I didn't ask her.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Epperson?
I voted.
Oh, you're voting? I thought you were on for discussion. Okay.
This chair gonna help. No.
Okay. That motion fails. Okay, next item, Mrs. Spears.
That would be visitors. You have Mr. Jeff Akes and Mr. Harry Lowry from Fire District 1 and 2 respectively to talk about driving simulators.
Chief Cotton.
Chief Cotton. Good afternoon. State your full name and address for the record, please.
Dan J. Cotton, 7058 Old Mooringsport Road. I'm the fire chief at Caddo Parish Fire District 1. Appreciate the opportunity to come. As you can see, we brought some of our colleagues with us. We have Chief Ernest Mitchell here from Caddo Fire District 3, which is the Greenwood area. Chief Harry Lowry, which is the Lakeview area. Chief Danny Richardson, which is in Fire District 7, which covers Mooringsport and all of that particular area north. Chief J. Paulette, who covers all the way up to Arkansas line, and Chief Grayson Butcher, which is the Ellaby Road Fire District. Also, if you be with me just a minute, is Mr. Don Jones and Miss Sarah Bostwick, who is Board Commissioner for Caddo Fire District 1, Mr. Ed Angel, who's Board Commissioner with Fire District 2. Anybody else? Okay. The reason we're here this afternoon, we need help on a project, and we have done just about everything we have been able to do up to this point. I'm here representing the Caddo Parish Fire Chiefs Association. Chief Akes, who was supposed to be here, had to go to Baton Rouge with his daughter for something in a school function, so I'm pinch hitter for the time being. As you know, and you may not know, the Caddo Parish has 8 fire districts. We have over 60 paid personnel and 300 volunteers. Now, this is excluding the city of Shreveport. Last year, we responded to 9,738 emergencies in the parish. And with that, we had last year, as y'all are familiar with, we did have an accident involving one of our firefighters that was killed. And at that time, we started a project, which was a priority, to try to develop some type of funding for simulator or whatever that would benefit the emergency services in the parish by allowing our volunteers and our personnel to have training. As it sits right now, there is no training facility for us to go to. And because of the way we're situated in the parish, we can't take all of our personnel and move them all to one area of the city or Bossier Parish or whatever for training. So this has presented a unique problem for us. When we talked about this, for funding for this project, we also took into consideration that the parish also has many vehicles, and including the fleet services, which Mr. Hopkins oversees a lot of that. You have all kinds of truck drivers and vehicles. We have police departments in each of these towns that also need training. This simulator would be able to encompass every one of these different agencies, not just the fire service. We're not trying to get this just for us. We're willing to have this to use for all personnel because it will benefit everyone. And because of this, right now, citizens are looking at us and looking at everyone else. This would give us the biggest bang for our bucks because we're not just funding one agency. This is for all agencies. Last year, in 2008, there was 103 firefighter deaths in the United States. And out of those deaths, 38% of them were caused by vehicle accidents. That's responding to calls or returning from calls. Things like lost control in curves, struck from behind, hitting a deer was one of them. EMS calls were central that were going back to their central station. They got distracted, had a head-on collision. They had more than one pumper that went off side of the road. They overcorrected. And once these accidents occur, the NFPA, which is the National Fire Protection Association, comes into the area. They do a thorough investigation. NIOS looks at it and everything that affects what the cause of the accident is. I believe the accident that occurred last year in the parish with a loss of life was about $750,000. Chief Harry, is what it cost, the replacement equipment, lost time, not to mention the loss of a firefighter, and having to encompass all that with the loss to their family. So with that in mind, the NFPA, after they did their study, made recommendations on it. One thing is that all operators must complete an approved driver training course. There is simulation driving and then there's actual driving. Of course, wearing seat belts and obeying traffic signs, which is all part of driver training. Departments that are volunteer have the highest number of deaths per 100,000 firefighters. And those deaths are generally attributed to the fact that these volunteers in these communities that come to serve their public lack the amount of training or experience that often that you have with your paid personnel. So what we're trying to do in the Fire Chiefs Association is to be more proactive as far as getting our people trained, having a place to train. So we looked into several ideas because I worked for the city of Shreveport for over 28 years as a training officer there. And the problem we have is places to drive and how to get these vehicles out with new drivers. The simulator would allow us to bring in a new driver, get him familiar with all types of accidents. We can put him on all kinds of surfaces, different situations, trained to a certain level, the same as with the parish drivers. And then we would be allowed to take these people or individuals out and drive them once they get their basic and pass the first part of this course. Funding, we've tried the grant program. The city of Shreveport received a Fire Act grant that we was going to apply for. They will not fund another one in this area. City of Shreveport has probably about 1,500 drivers that have to go through this simulator. So it leaves very little time for other agencies to use this. And in this situation, we would all have to take all the personnel out of the districts, which cuts our manpower down, to send them in to try to have them trained at certain times. What we're proposing is a simulator that can be transported and moved from one location to the other. If we need it in the south part of the parish, north part of the parish, or in certain areas, we can move the simulator to these specific locations. If the parish wants to set on a driver course, then that could be delivered to the parish fleet maintenance or wherever they want it there, where they can do their best training. I really, I see this as an opportunity for a win-win for all of us. We just happen to be the one bringing it to you. With insurance, as we're dealing with today, liabilities and the things that we're dealing with, but most often is the loss of life for our personnel or for the citizens that are on the highway. And I think we can do a whole lot better job to probably make things a whole lot safer. We may not cut out all accidents, but we certainly hope to reduce the severity of the accidents by proper training and how these people react to these situations. Thank you. Any questions?
Commissioner, oh Lord, my glasses on. Commissioner Dominique.
I got a few questions. Number one, do we know how much this is going to cost?
Yes, sir. This package we handed out to you, we have a projection in here of about $191,000. That's for the trailer, $191,000.
And then, what does that include, the trailer and the...
Includes the trailer, the vehicle, the full simulator. I believe that some of those come with a different packages too, Harry. You researched a lot of this. All the necessary software and everything for all
Basically, this will be like a pilot, how the Air Force has a simulator. They'll be able to look at this.
Yes.
The volunteers will be able to use it, if I'm correct.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's a safety issue, correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, in this, if you got this, it was my understanding when I talked to you before, your insurance requires y'all to have this training, and this would hopefully enable each of the fire districts' insurance to decrease too, correct?
We're required under two different entities that require driver training. One is our insurance carriers that funds our liability and all of that. The second one is the PIL, the Property Insurance of Louisiana. They require so much driver training every year for new drivers and continuous training. Now, where PIL affects all of you is that they set our fire insurance ratings. And when we set our fire insurance ratings, the better we're doing, the better ratings we get, and the less you pay on your homeowner's insurance. So that's how it's a carryover. And plus it saves money for every citizen in the parish if we get a better class rating, which that's what we all strive to do.
And would we be able to pass some of these costs to some of these other agencies to offset the maintenance costs and transporting costs that I guess you guys or we would incur? Is that
right? Well, I think we discussed in our meeting because of the cost, which we're talking about insurance carried on the vehicle and some of the maintenance on it. We're probably looking at about $7,000 or $8,000 a year. Right up front, we would probably incur those costs between our districts. We would try to budget and help share in those costs to get this going. So that wouldn't be an ongoing cost for the commission. We're only asking for a one-time assistance.
Have you guys ever, and you tell me, y'all never really come to us asking for anything before, correct?
Not to my knowledge, I haven't.
Can I ask Todd Hopkins one thing? Madam President, Todd, can you come up real quick?
I've been here 10 years. I'll be here 10 years in November, and it's the first time I've been here.
You and I briefly talked about this. Is this something that the parish could use, and would it help save on our insurance costs? I know we have a lot of drivers, like you said, and I just wanted to get your opinion on if it would save us any money or help the parish in any way.
Well, I know it would help us in the sense that what we do now, we do classroom training, most of it, but it doesn't allow us to go out and sit in a vehicle and, like with the software, put the software in and have different variables hit these drivers and let them react to what's going on. That's where the real training is. It's easy to sit in the classroom and tell these drivers they need to do this, they need to do that. But once they sit in that simulator and they do some of the different things, then they can carry that with them. Now, the insurance portion, really, Erica would have to answer that. She would know a little better how that would save us on our insurance.
And I guess the last question I have for Chief Cotton, have you talked to Sheriff Prater about this? Is this something that he has said that they would be able to use or be in favor of?
I think they were open to it, and we were just going to carry the ball at this time with my organization, and we didn't commit them in any way or have a commitment. But let me explain the simulator. It's not a laptop computer with a screen. This is a full-blown simulator like you may have seen in some of the airlines simulators. And we can plug in a fire truck seat with a dashboard, the steering wheel of a fire truck, all the controls, and you get the feel for an actual fire truck. You can unplug that, you can roll in a Crown Vic sedan, or you can unplug that and roll in a mid-sized vehicle, a dump truck, or something else. So it's not a small piece of equipment. And the features that it has is that you can take any driving scenario and cause all kinds of different events, running off the road, blown tires, cars pulling out in front of you. I know I was on a simulator not long ago approaching intersections. Which way do you turn if a car's approaching through an intersection? Which way do you take the vehicle? And you can do all kinds of simulations for that. On insurance, you know, may not see a big savings in insurance right up front, but in the event of an accident or liability, anytime we can lessen our impact or the amount of damage that we have, I think that's going to go far to save taxpayers money and save us money. I know dealing with the city of Shreveport, whenever there's an accident occur, the first thing they want is the training records. How much has this guy been driving? How well has he been trained? What courses did he have? All that goes into litigation. I'm not an attorney, but I'm sure Mr. Grubbs can probably vouch for some of that. They want to know everything.
And I would, last question, I guess, I can keep cutting that last question. You know, your volunteers, you know, these are non-paid individuals. It's probably more difficult to get them to drive all the way from Vivian or Odessa or even from the southern part of the parish to go to Bossier or Shreveport. If you have it there, you know, it's hard enough to get volunteers to volunteer, I imagine.
Well, that is true, and departments are having problems getting volunteers. So the more convenient we can make it for them, but you are correct. It is hard to get people to get off work, come in and do training all night. Some of this training would take me 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks to get everyone through it. And some of the other departments that left farther out, Chief Paulette and Chief Richardson and them, they're even farther up north. It makes it a lot more difficult. So we just see this as a possible solution for us. I see it as a win-win for everybody. Of course, naturally I would, but, you know, that's why we're here.
Madam President, I'm third through this time.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Epperson?
Chief Cotton, right?
Yes, sir.
Are there any parishes that you're aware of that's nearby that has such a vehicle?
Yes, sir. Bossier Parish Sheriff's Office has a simulator over in Bossier.
Okay.
And it's out at the, you went over there, which is up in Benton. North of
Stationary, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As far as collectively, all of the groups that I see represented here, do you all have any funds that you might could defray some of the initial costs?
Well, speaking for my budget, we don't. And most of the districts that operate on their millages and their service fees and things, we're faced with the same costs that the parish is. You know, our fuel costs, everything is going up on us at the same time. And as you know, our fees are set the same as yours is by the elected officials, or by the voters out there. And we look at our budget when we try to keep a certain reserve amount, as anyone does, and we have to keep that for emergency stuff. But this kind of money we haven't. We've researched other grant programs that we might could get into to get some funding or whatever from it, but probably we're looking at a year or two down the road, which is, you know, it's quite a bit.
Also, do you think that you may have an opportunity for some smaller districts out of Caddo Parish that may want to use the simulator, that you might charge them a nominal fee that may help to pay some of your maintenance and insurance costs?
We have discussed that. If we have some other departments that want to come in, we could rent it out and charge a fee for it, maybe we can recoup some of this money back.
Okay, as far as, I don't imagine that there'll be a lot of upgrades because just basic, I guess normal wear and tear that you'd have to basically watch out for, right? Would be like major upgrades or something in the future?
We'll have
Basically the same?
We'll have a standard maintenance contract, which is part of that money, that the initial money that's ongoing that we will pay for. It's a little over $7,000 a year. They come in for any technical assistance, any upgrades that need to be done or whatever will be included in that fee.
Todd, question for you, please, sir. Does our employees take, I know they used to offer defensive driving course, a lot of municipalities and companies would send their employees, and they get certified. Do we?
We still do that from time to time. It's not a yearly process, but every few years we do that.
Okay.
But it's still not in a simulator or something
Right,
like that.
that's what I'm saying. In the event that we were to acquire one of those, and we were to participate with it, would that alleviate the need for having employees go down there and have a more comprehensive course?
Yes, sir, I believe so. I believe we could do it at our location or at the camp locations or whatever department's involved. They could go to a location there, close to them, do their class, and then not have to be, everybody be called away. You could do it in and out of a building.
And I'm sure the insurance companies will honor that particular training, right?
I would believe so, yes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yeah, do you know how many stations are in the simulator?
How many stations?
So how many driving stations? I'm pretty familiar with driving simulators out.
This simulator would have one driving station.
I mean, one station for a participant,
Yes,
so it would be a one-on-one situation?
one-on-one. That's why it would be impossible for us to try to incorporate into the city of Shreveport, because we would have to go to the city of Shreveport, plus they have so many, of course, we'd be at the bottom of the list to ever get there. But yes, it is a one-on-one. The program will generally run 30 to 45 minutes per student. Once that student clears, he's done until the next year, because we have to do this every year. And then, once we clear him, if a person's having some difficulty or needs to work on some of his skills or driving skills, then we can run them back through for another course.
That's an awful large simulator for one person. Now, we had simulators that have 12 stations in them.
Yes, sir.
And when we switched it over to computers, because they're outdated now, they aren't used anymore, then because it shows everything on the wall, and the machine, as you react to what you see, you get graded in your machine.
Right.
And that machine sends your grade up to the master panel that's controlled by the teacher.
Yes, sir.
Now, who would be trained to administer the simulator?
We will have a train-the-trainer course that they will come in as part of the package and train certain personnel. One of my men is kind of a computer guru himself, and every department has one. They would be trained as training officers for this. The difference in this simulator and the one you're talking about, this is an interactive simulator. In other words, that driver can be driving down the road, and all of a sudden I may decide that I might give him a left front blowout, and I can do that on a computer. Then we see how he reacts to it.
Yeah.
And wet conditions, we can make it rain. You got the windshield of a fire truck, you got everything here, and even the sides, so as you see it going down the sides, you're seeing the sides of the road. So, if you've seen some of the airline simulators, I think they have some on the military now that they train them on tanks and stuff like that. Military's big into it because of the cost to train them on a simulator, as opposed to taking one of these $250,000 fire trucks out on the highway to break a new driver in. It's just not practical.
Well, I understand. I guess it kind of
Yes, sir.
that's an awful lot of expenditure for one-on-one. And, I thought it would at least have, at least 6 stations in there, so that when you put in, when you set the computer, everybody sees the same thing at the same time. And they react to it, and it sends, and as they react, their station records their reaction time and whether or not they reacted correctly. And then that goes as a grade, because they have to be graded in order for it to work. And that's an one-on-one, it would take how long to, well,
with our group, we would be able to do it. We could run probably 6 or 7 in an evening or night. If we do it during the day, I could just about clear my department within about a week. Then it would go somewhere else. The difference in what we're trying to develop here is a skill reaction. And what happens with a lot of computer programs, and probably nowhere else but firemen, when he gets up, what you have to do? Well, when you get here, watch for this and watch for that. They tell each other what's on that computer program to react to. Can't do this. We control what they react to. That's real skill development when you do that. Then you're picking out your good drivers and your bad drivers.
okay, and the vehicle, the truck, whatever you put it with, I'm looking at this picture, seems like it has a semi or something that's pulling it.
We're going to go with a 3/4 ton with a gooseneck.
Okay.
Smaller vehicle.
And when it's not, well, you haven't gotten to a point where, because when it's not being used, I know these things have to, they're temperature controlled because it's computerized.
That's true.
And the temperature has to remain at a certain point. Unless you money going down the drain.
It will be housed at one of the fire stations inside. It will not be left outside, and it will be controlled and maintained from that point of view.
Thank you very much.
Commissioners Cox and then Thibodeau.
Have you applied for any grants?
Yes, sir. We checked it. Like I said, we're going to apply for the Fire Act grant, and the city of Shreveport went and applied for one and got the grant. Now, they hadn't got their money or purchased it yet, but they're not going to fund another simulator for Caddo Parish, Louisiana, when the city of Shreveport has one. That's under the Fire Act.
Okay. The $9,600 for the yearly operating cost?
Yes, sir.
Y'all need to go to the residents of the parish and ask for an increase on their...
No, sir, we're not. We're going to share that cost with us. We've already looked at that.
Okay.
No, sir, we're not going to ask for any increases.
Because that'd be the first thing they ask us.
Absolutely no increases.
And the city of Shreveport, I mean, I saw on the other night on the news where y'all are merging capabilities.
What they're doing in a couple of areas is, Chief Butcher, they have some areas that District 5 can beat the city to in medical emergencies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they worked out an automatic mutual aid agreement. So when they dispatch the city, they will also dispatch them. They will get on scene first, take care of it till the city gets there. It's response time is what they're looking at.
Okay. And there's no practical way for both the parish and the city to work together on simulation thing?
And I've already met with them because they invited me out to look at one of their simulators, I guess since I worked there so long, and theirs is going to be stationed at the Academy on Greenwood Road. Right. It's non-movable. So everyone has to go would have to go to Shreveport to do that. That's where we run into problems with the volunteers sometimes when they get off work, having to drive into Shreveport or go to the building. It hasn't worked out that well. I do some training at the Academy during the year. We do live burn training, and I have to either do it 2 or 3 nights to get people in there to make sure that they come to do that. And it's good, but it can be an imposition to those that are volunteering their time.
The bottom line is, I mean, I've only read the important part.
Yes, sir.
What exactly are you looking for from the commission?
We're here trying to ask you if any way you can help fund this thing.
And how much
we're asking.
The whole shooting match?
Yes, sir.
Todd, ever stay up front?
Yes, he's right here.
Come here, Todd.
with the ability of us trying to farm this out through the parish and Caddo Sheriff's Department on a fee basis, what do you think our payback on this would be?
You'll have to let me look at all that information before
That's what we need. Now, that's what I need.
I don't mind looking at it, but I would be afraid to
Work with the chief.
give you an answer and work with the chiefs, yes, sir.
I'd really like to know exactly what the administration feels as far as, I mean, I know we got dump truck drivers, and we lost a driver last year. Working in transportation, I know how big rigs, I mean, I wish our drivers had something like this, because as long as you have a CDL, pass your driving test, we put you on the street, okay? My idea, or what I would like to see is, see how the Sheriff Prager thinks about it and what he would do as far as his drivers, how many times that he would use it, how many times we would use it, and how many times, you know, just give me a breakdown between the fire departments, the administration, and the people that we have, class CDL, that would need it, and the Sheriff's Department,
Okay.
at your earliest convenience.
I will get with Chief Cotton and sit down with him.
Mr. Cox, they would use it once a year, just like we would, get their driver certified.
If you have a bad driver, you may have to send him back.
Yes, sir.
I'm through, Madam President.
Commissioner Tibbetts?
Who do you see as being the owner of this piece of equipment?
Well, I guess it's gonna have to be shared ownership with as a parish entity, because someone's gonna have to maintain it and keep it up and make sure it's done, and we will do that as this organization.
Two concerns I have is ownership. I think if we go through with this, it should be owned probably by the parish. And secondly, who would schedule it? And, because that could be a problem.
We could get each agency to find out what times they're going to do this, and the association would schedule the times. It's going to have to be here, here, here. They have it reserved for this period of time. Make sure that everyone gets it.
And another concern I have is, how much difference is a 30 to 45-minute training session one time a year going to make?
What it does is again, we're talking about skill development for different deals. Then we still take them out and drive them in the vehicle. No more than an airline pilot does when he goes through his simulator training, then he has to fly the plane. We have to do that too. What we're going to benefit is the amount of time it would take a brand new driver to develop skills, and there's things we can't teach him with those skills on the street. There's nothing we can do with that. This would introduce him to some of that skill development, and where he can start thinking about it in reaction. Then we will actually have to take him out and drive these rigs, because we've got tankers, we've got pumpers, we've got medic units, have a ladder truck. They're all different. They have to drive those vehicles. This prepares them for that.
Just thinking maybe the first year it could be, much more than just a 30 to 45-minute
Well, yes, sir.
training session, because that I'd hate to think that I had to rely on that as a driver.
Right, let me clarify that. We were talking about, once we get this program enacted and once we get started in this thing, then we'll be probably looking at 30 or 45 minutes a year. New drivers, if he's having problems, he's going to have to stay back on that simulator until we get him developed enough where we say, okay, you're okay to go out now, and we're going to start doing some actual training.
Well, I think it's a good idea to continue looking into it. I think it might be a good investment for the parish. I'd like some of the same information that Mr. Cox asked for.
Sure.
And I'd also like to know, how our administration feels about it.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Escaday and Lynn?
Chief, approximately how many drivers do you have among you altogether, collectively?
In the parish, just for us, fire department. My drivers that I have in my department, I have 43 volunteers, and I probably have 20-something drivers, 25 drivers in my department. Now, each district's going to be different from the numbers I
Some of
have.
you are small, some of you are not. What percentage of these drivers would you know are actually volunteer? I know there's some paid personnel as well.
Probably the largest number of drivers that I have in my department that are volunteer is going to run about 60%.
Okay. And this simulator has the ability to train them in all of the equipment that you're currently using.
Yes, sir, it does.
And so that's what, maybe estimate 300 people
In the,
in total? 300 people?
probably if we include the parish and everything, yes. We will eventually, let me explain, we have to
I'm just
eventually,
trying to get a gauge on the fire district. I'm not worried about the parish and the sheriff and
just on the fire district, yes, sir.
300 people.
All volunteers will eventually have to be trained to drive rigs.
Okay, you say all volunteers, but they're not all volunteers. You know, there's some paid personnel, are there not?
There are paid personnel,
Okay.
yes, sir.
It's just,
Yes, sir, they are, but volunteers grow and decline over periods of time. When I started in District 1, I had 5 volunteers. I have over 40 now.
I understand. Retired in the city 10 years ago?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any idea what benefit that you ever heard the figure that the citizens of the city actually save being Class 1 versus what we used to be? I mean, is it a significant amount of money? Do you know?
I don't know the dollar amount. It was based on a $100,000 home at the time when we went to a Class 1 10 years ago. Up to that time, there was no savings, and then we went to the state legislature and got some savings through the insurance company. A $100,000 home, they save the homeowner, this was like 10 years ago, like $150 or more a year, depending on his agency and who was doing that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Chief. What is the price difference between this single transportable unit versus 2 stationary units, or a six unit, one stationary, or 1 unit south and 1 unit north? What is the difference in the price?
There is a schedule sheet in that book. Chief, you look that up. Yeah. How much? 171 per simulator.
So a stationary would be $171,000,
Yes, sir.
and a stationary that has 2 simulators in it would be just twice that amount?
Probably close to that per unit.
And so the trailer is basically $25,000?
Right. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
what we figured, and we figured we could get a vehicle we're looking for around $17,000 to $18,000, because I feel like we can probably get some help with that too.
That's it. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, can you allow them to introduce themselves, because I'm just curious as to who the other men in uniform are.
Sure. Who's back to the men in uniform?
Chief Ernest Mitchell, Fire District 3, Greenwood.
Reuben Hanson, volunteer firefighter for Fire District 109.
Justin Miller, firefighter, EMT, Fire District 2.
Chief Lowry, Caddo Fire District 2, and I've been around since the fire districts was formed. Chief Richardson, Fire District 7, and I also retired for 33 years.
Captain Scott Durfee, Caddo Fire District 1.
Firefighter, paramedic, Jerry Laws, Fire District 1. Chief Jerry Paulette, Caddo Fire District 1. Tracy Butcher, Chief Fire District 5.
Thank you all. Thank you all. I guess you can tell by the number of questions that we have, it is something that we're going to take into consideration, and I'm going to refer this matter to the Capital Projects Committee, and the additional information that's been requested, get that to the chair of that committee, and we'll be in contact with you all.
We'll be happy to provide anything you need. Our numbers are in that booklet, and you can give us a call, and I appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and your questions.
Thank you.
I believe the chief from Fire District 5,
They're
they're all,
they're fine.
okay, they're fine, okay.
Did y'all still want to speak?
5 and 6? No? Okay. Thank you. Thank you all. Next item, Mrs. Spears.
Okay, I'm just going to comment that Harry Lowry's been around since fire was discovered. I'm the fire district lost a fireman in March of last year. Had a fireman tell me today, we're just getting over it. Y'all do not know how it affects the fire service, much less the fire department. It's a big problem. I don't want to see no more.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Next, administration report.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes, Madam President, I think it was one of the commissioners' requests that we invite a new CEO for the library system to come and visit us, so y'all can meet him. This time I'd like to have Mr. Ron Heason to come forward, to introduce himself and kind of give you a little synopsis about where he's from and perhaps where he's going to take us in the library system. Welcome, sir.
Hello.
Madam
This is
President,
full name and
Commissioners.
Address for the record?
Ronald Heason, 1333 Coates Bluff Drive, number 1411, Shreveport. I'm proud to be here. I follow, I think, a very great individual as library director, and although I'm filling his office, I probably will never fill his shoes. I'm from, actually, question is, people always wonder where am I from. That's a good question, I think. My dad was with the Atomic Energy Commission, and we traveled all over the country. I was born in Denver, but I consider myself a native of the Arklatex. Before I got a wild hair and went off to direct the library in Omaha, Nebraska, I was library director for 10 years in the city of Longview, Texas. My daughter and my 4 grandchildren still live in East Texas, and so we feel that we've come home. And to probably, I think, the kindest parish I've ever seen or witnessed. When we lived in Longview, we used to come over here to shop and do fun things. So, Shreveport was just the place we'd hang out. Now it's home. And Caddo Parish, I think, is home to some of the kindest individuals I've ever met in my life. So I've met Commissioner Pearson and Attorney Grubbs different occasions, and I look forward to a long association here, and please let me know what we can do to serve each of your residents better from the library system. We will be going into a long-range planning process shortly, and with that, we'll be looking for citizen input. We'll be looking for input from y'all, trying to figure out where our next step is. Now that we've got beautiful library buildings, we've already talked here, I think Jimmy mentioned to me a little earlier, we need more connectivity and Wi-Fi in the branches, and those are things that we'll be looking at as we go into this long-range planning process. So, do you have any questions of me?
Commissioner Baker?
Yes, I just want to say welcome, and
Thank you.
thank you for coming over to work with us. I want to know if I can get some contact information on you, like a phone number.
My phone number rings right at my desk, and it's 226-3003.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'll be giving you a call.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. It's nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you all. Thank you very much.
Come, I appreciate it. Madam President, the next person up to speak for you today is Mr. Jim Ray. We had a major change in strategy and investment for the parish, deferred comp plan, and he's here to give us an update today on how that's progressed.
Madam
I
President.
like that pen.
Thank you. Adler's New Orleans, very inexpensive, but it looks good.
The Caddo Parish pen. I'm
Oh, really? I'm sorry. Talk to the main tender. Sorry about that. I can get it fixed. Lovely belt buckle, too. Jim Ray, I'm representing Retirement Plan Advisors, and also we do CPERS and one of your 457 programs. As Woody said, that we appreciate your confidence. We upgraded your program last year, basically at the direction of your administration and this board. The new service model was also installed where we go top to bottom with each department. So there's some departments that were underserved, and now they have actually had the opportunity to visit it on the programs. Our goal is to do top to bottom in the fall and in the spring. So I'm scheduling with your administration right now to be back here next month to go again, top to bottom. The key components of this program are that now there's accountability because there is an investment policy statement that evaluates every investment in the program. That report card gets back to your administration every quarter, and if there's any recommended funds to be changed out, they're done automatically for you. Other than that, I don't really have any other comments other than to say that I'm also welcome the opportunity to sit down with each one of you and review your own individual accounts if you'd like me to, either after this meeting or give me a call, and I'll be glad to schedule something up for you. You've got the same opportunities as your employees. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Madam President, next item we have is a legislative update from Mr. Grubbs, and he would like to give you that as a close out to the session recently.
Commissioners, first of all, right before I came down here today, I received by email the final legislative report from Joe Rose. I didn't get a chance to forward to y'all yet, but I will before the day is over. I'd like to, and I might say Ms. Rose is working on perhaps coming up here at one of your meetings in the very near future and bringing with her Mr. Dartez or someone from the Police Jury Association to give you a more personalized briefing on what the legislature did. There's two constitutional amendments I want to bring to your attention, both of which will not be voted on until November of 2010. There's no general state election this fall, so the constitutional amendments that get through the legislative process this year have to wait another year to be voted on. One is similar to last year's constitutional amendment that was not approved by the people to reallocate the severance tax proceeds to basically raise the cap on what remains with local government, which is constitutionally set at $850,000. The way this bill came out of the legislature, if it's approved by the people at the election a year from this fall, that cap would go up $1 million and then raise after that based upon certain factors. There's also another constitutional amendment that, there were a lot of bills filed this year on rolling forward millages, and all the bills basically were defeated. They were all designed to make it more difficult for public bodies to roll forward their millages. None of them got out of the legislative process except one that's going to result in a constitutional amendment being presented to people that would limit appointed governing bodies with appointed boards other than fire protection districts and ports and basically the Port Commission. It would limit their ability to roll forward millages to not exceed 2.5% of the property tax collections for the immediately preceding years. In other words, it would make it more difficult for appointed boards other than fire districts and port commissions to roll forward their taxes. Again, both of those will be up for on the ballot on November 2nd, 2010. I'm assuming y'all, we've sent you a lot of information by email, so I'm not going to repeat that. I sent you some information about the money issues that came out of the legislature this year, so the bottom line is we were disappointed in not being able to fund STAR. There was some confusing information, particularly in the public about, in the public media, including the FaxNet that came out today about the money that goes to the juvenile mental health court. The bottom line is the governor vetoed an appropriation. I don't know how to do this simply, but I'm going to just see if I can do it, and if y'all have any questions, let me know. But there was a appropriation for $30,000 last year that didn't get spent, and the juvenile court folks tried to get that money reallocated this year, and the governor vetoed that. But the $50,000 that we've been fighting for in this coming budget went through the legislative process and was not vetoed by the governor. If any of y'all are interested, the bill passed that allows part-time elected officials to also work for the U.S. Census Bureau in the coming elections. The bid law increases finally got through this year, assuming they don't get vetoed by the governor. Most of these things are still on the governor's desk, but if not vetoed by the governor, the bid limit will go up from $100,000 to $150,000 on construction projects and $20,000 to $30,000 on purchase of materials and supplies. That's all I have, unless y'all have questions. As I indicate, when y'all open your emails up this evening, tomorrow, you'll see a more detailed report from Ms. Rose, and of course, we'd be happy to answer any questions you have at any time.
Last but not least,
I was going to say, Commissioners, Mr. Joe Rose and Mr. Roland Dortez will be here on the 20th of July to a rec session of that date. They're coming up. They just finally on the legislative sessions.
Is that the week we're off, or we just all
no,
off?
we're going to move
We're
that
gonna do
Monday and Tuesday.
Just a couple last things I need to cover with you. We've already started the process, or the budgetary process of sending out applications to non-appropriate government organizations that we fund. If you know of any that you would like to have us send an application to, please let us know. Otherwise, we sent them out to those who applied last year, perhaps that were even not funded. And as I understand it, there are quite a few of them in the community. I'm not soliciting any inputs other than if you all have something you want to consider sending out, please let us know. We'll send it out for you. Because we get a lot of them. And the last thing, most of y'all should be aware that as it relates to Spring Ridge Estate, Chesapeake Energy did pay us all the funds that owe us for the repair of the road, which I think was $165,000 and $794. We received that and put it back in the appropriate funds. So they kept a roll on that, so everything's moving forward there. I don't have anything else other than I put a copy of this report at your station. This is a Northwest Louisiana Economic Development Foundation annual report. Just kind of give you an idea of what they're doing for us. We fund them. So each one of you all have this. If you have any questions that you want me to ask Mr. Kirk Foreman, I'll be glad to do that. Otherwise, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Commissioner Jenkins?
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to follow up on a couple of things with administration. We had talked about the digest and putting together a digest of the new rules for adjudicated property.
Putting in what, sir?
So you can't hear me?
No.
We had talked about putting together a digest on the new rules of adjudicated property.
Okay.
And I'm trying to see where are we on that.
Okay, let me follow up, Commissioner Jenkins. As you may be aware, that Mr. Winton's been out for the last 3 weeks. He broken a bone in his leg. He's not been here. So let me find out where we are with that, and I'll get back with you as soon as I can.
And also, I want to know, are mosquito control trucks, are they rolling this summer?
Yes, sir. They all have been for months.
Okay, I'd like to get a schedule on when they'll be coming through District 5.
Okay.
If there's a way for me to get a schedule for either the remainder of the summer or remainder of the year.
Yes, sir, we can.
Through District 5, I'd like to get there. And then Mr. Grubb, I'm glad to know that Ms. Rose is going to be coming up. And the idea is she's going to come before the commission and give us an overview of what the commission had presented to the legislature this year, and then what the outcome of all that was. Is that what we're going to do?
Yes, sir.
Because I need to get it back in my mind, because it sounds like we only got very little out of the legislature. I'm not attaching that to any efforts by Ms. Rose, but it sounds like very little came out of the legislature. But I know we had said what we wanted to do was to go in with certain assignments and certain things we really want to get our hands on. And I want to come back now and see how successful we were. What did or did not happen when we did it, okay?
Mr. Jenkins, on April 24th of this past year, during our annual legislative luncheon, we gave each legislator a copy of our priorities.
Right.
And for those who did attend, we mailed them a copy of it.
Right.
And I can tell you right now, what we had prioritized and what we actually received was 0. But I'll make that available to you if you'd like to see it again.
I think it's good to come back and look at it.
Yes, sir.
What did we put out there? What came back to us? It's good to keep it out in front of us.
Yes, sir.
So that we'll have a good idea of what's going on down in Baton Rouge with our legislators.
Yes, sir.
Requests that the parish is making, so we can keep track of that. Now, you said some money came back from Chesapeake for the repair of roads.
Yes, sir. You know,
What fund did that money go into?
goes back into the, I think, the road fund, right? Erica?
It goes back into the fund that paid for the repair of the roads, which is the Public Works Fund, funded the cost of the roads, so it goes back into that fund. Well, actually, the Capital Outlay Fund, the Public Works Fund transferred the money there, so the money goes back into the Capital Outlay Fund.
Mr. Jenkins, what happened, we repaired the road and they actually reimbursed us for the cost that we paid for the road repair that they damaged.
Okay, thank you, Madam President.
And Commissioner Cox?
I know this is on the consent agenda, but I'd asked the administration on our last meeting on the ordinances that are going to be, that are on the consent. I asked you to get a guideline of the department that would need to oversee this. Kind of ballpark, when you might be able to give us something on that?
Oh, you talking about the oil and gas?
Oil and gas, yes, sir. As far as opening up that department with people to go out and handle the problems and...
Yeah, so we met most recently with the Natural Resource Committee, and my comments to that committee was, as soon as we finalize all of the requirements of the ordinance, we'll know exactly what we need to do and how we need to go about doing it. And our options are only two options: either contract it out immediately, or either create a department under the umbrella of the Public Works Department to do it. But I think most of it's predicated on the fact that the ordinance is completed, so we know all the details of it. But yes, sir, we are working that, and we're looking at Public Works.
And guideline of time, how quick, say we did something within the next 30 days on the ordinances itself.
Yes, sir.
How soon could we have that up and running? If we kept, my personal opinion, I want to keep it within the realm of the parish. I don't want any outside people. So tell me, ballpark figure.
Well,
30 days, 60 days?
About 90 days, but ballpark figures, we have to calculate the wage and the assets to implement the ordinance. Whether that, if we do the full realm of the ordinance, which this does not even require the road provision in it, and which will be a separate component, that will have to be addressed also.
Got a lot of work to do.
Yes, we have a lot of work to do.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lynn?
To piggyback with what Commissioner Cox had said, have you met with anybody in regard to the regulations as far as the carrying out, and for them to look over them to make sure that they're within legal rights? I think Attorney Grubb had told me that y'all met with somebody, or he had met with somebody that was in the oil and gas industry that also worked for the EPA or something.
Yes, sir, I personally met with several possible candidates that could do this job for us. Even met with Commissioner Cox. He introduced me to one gentleman that had experience in this area. And we also met with two contractors that provide turnkey services with respect to enforcing ordinances. So we have several options on the table, and we did meet with several of those individuals as well as companies that could provide the service. But we cannot get to a point until we have the ordinance finalized, so they will know totally what the requirements are.
Have you shown any of them the ordinance as it is written?
Yes, sir.
And I know that there's going to be, I think, several tweaks and adjustments to it as well as, okay.
You know, Mr. David Longstrom is an individual that works extensively with us down in the Fort Worth area, and he's been looking over this for us and giving us feedback, and so is some other folks. So we just need to get to a point where we have a final document and we'll know what we need to do.
Okay, that's all. Thank you, Madam President.
Commissioner Thibodeau?
I too would like to get a copy of the schedule of the mosquito guy. And also, I know this is probably all over the parish, where you have a situation where some body of water or drainage ditch or something runs behind subdivisions, but they're under the, for example, levee board has a lot of those. Are we allowed to go in there and do any spraying or anything?
In the levee board property? I'm not sure.
I'm thinking like, you know, an example would be like Sand Beach Bayou, runs behind University Terrace. Right. You know, and, you know, if you're going to spray for mosquitoes, if you don't get where it's wet, then you're wasting a lot of spray.
Yes.
And, you know, all that, most of that's kept cut real well. I mean, most of that's cut, but I think it's under the jurisdiction of the levee board. I was wondering if we had the authority or the ability to go in there and and spray or put out some kind of insecticide for the mosquitoes.
Mr. Thibodeau, let me get that answer for you. I don't want to answer it off the cuff, because we may be able to collaborate with them and go over and do that. So we'll have...
That's where a lot of them are coming from.
That's for you.
Okay. Madam President, point of information. Mr. Dimshay, you were shaking your head. Could you clarify something on this? You were shaking your head over there.
Yes, sir. If
Could you come forward, please? You know me, if you're shaking your head out there, I'm gonna bring you up.
I don't mind.
I know that, Mr. Thibodeau, he couldn't see you, so.
Mr. Thibodeau, one of the problems is the liquor board won't allow anybody on their property. You try to go on their property, they will tell you they will call Sheriff Prater and take you off their property. That's one of the biggest problems right there.
On their property almost every day.
They won't let us on it.
Okay.
We'll check.
Because that's a big part of the problem.
Well, we'll contact the liquor board to see if we can gain access to it without them trying to get us locked up.
Okay, Commissioner Baker?
Charles,
Commissioner Baker, okay.
if the legislation didn't make a decision on donating adjudicated property, I know we were waiting on them to do something. Did they say anything, or is it? They do it. They cannot do it?
Commissioner Baker, I probably have the answer to that question right here, so let me give it to you after the meeting, or else I'll email you about it. I didn't notice it. Like I said, I just got this stuff 15 minutes before I came down here, so let me go through it. I'll try to answer your question.
Woody, on the Star Boot Camp, I know you met with Superintendent Dawkins.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you kind of tell me where it's at, what we're going to do? I'm sorry, I know Woody met with Superintendent Dawkins about Star Boot Camp, and what his thoughts are, what are we going to do, or have you thought about anything, or?
Yes, ma'am. I did email Dr. Dawkins again a couple of weeks ago. Had not received a reply. They asked him whether or not they were going to be supportive to help him from that, and I haven't gotten anything from him yet. And it would be my recommendation to the board. I'd like to put that in writing to you and send it out, because I'm very concerned that we don't want to go into another school year, with a program that's unfunded. So we will have to make a decision very quickly on that. And I have a recommendation of mine that I'd just like to put in writing to you, as opposed to being able to verbalize it now, because I still need to talk to Commissioner Matthew Lynn and express my recommendation to him, being he's a committee chair, and make a formal recommendation to the board that we do with this program. And that will be forthcoming in a couple of days.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam President. Commissioner Epperson?
Mr. Wilson, it appears as though we are getting our agenda in possibly too late to the legislature. So we have our dinner, in January or February, when we meet with them and give them our concerns. But then when the bills pop up, they show that they had some stuff that's been pre-filed back in the previous year. So maybe we need to start out in November, getting our agenda
This year?
So November, prior to the legislature. Because it appears as though this February thing, or whenever that is, that's not working. We totally ignore it.
I had already spoken with Attorney Grubb about that. I mean, when that session ends, we need to start working on the next session immediately, so that is something that's going to happen this time.
Okay. Mr. Epson, we'll take that under advisement, sir, and try to get it out in this year before we go into the next calendar year.
That's it.
Okay. I have a question on the report from the Economic Development Foundation. I don't have anything about how much money they have in here. Is there a separate document that talks about what they take in and where they spent their money? Because I know we contribute $35,000, I believe, to this organization, and I'm not really sure.
No, ma'am, we can make a formal request for that.
Okay, please, thank you. Commissioner Cox?
No, I'm good.
Oh, that's all? Okay. No other questions to administration? Anything else, Mr. Wilson?
That's it, ma'am. I complete my report.
All righty. Next item, Mr. Spears.
Ma'am, you have a letter from the 911 board advising of the resignation of Marty Woodridge and asking you to replace him with someone. Also a letter from Fire District 2 asking that you appoint Mr. Gordon Roundtree to replace Dr. Donald Smith.
Do we have a replacement for Mr. Woolridge yet?
Believe so. I've got to get with him and find out a little bit more detail.
All right, is there,
I don't have a name to recommend yet or anything like that.
okay. Is there a motion on the second appointment?
So move, Madam Chair. Move forward to Thursday.
Second.
All right, moved by Commissioner Epperson, second by Commissioner Pearson to move the Fire District 2 appointment to Thursday's agenda. Commissioner Dominique?
Tentatively, Madam President, you and I probably need to talk a little bit better, more about this, but tentatively our park tour is July 14th. I know I emailed you, but...
Hold on, we got a motion on the floor.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
Better.
Yes, let's vote.
Just a moment, the system's thinking.
Thinking the system.
Okay.
Be real smart. Okay, Commissioner Smith, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Dominique?
Our park tour for the southern part of Parish, tentatively set for July 14th. That'll be a Tuesday at 9 o'clock. Madam President, if that's okay with you, I don't know if you had a chance to look at your agenda. Tell you what, why don't you look at it, and we'll finalize it Thursday, and I'll bring it up Thursday at a meeting, and you and I can talk before then, okay?
Okay.
But I've talked to Larry, and that will be a good time.
Commissioner Epperson?
The code enforcement meeting that was scheduled for immediately following this work session meeting today has been canceled. I've notified all the JPs and the constables. At this point in time, staff is progressing very well as to the last charge that we gave them from our last committee meeting. I think that was developing a ticketed system, looking at funding, pricing digital cameras, and some other logistics. I've been in contact with Mr. Demache, Ms. Frazier, and Mr. Glass. So as soon as we have something pertinent to bring back to this body, we will do so. That meeting has been canceled for this afternoon. Thank you.
I see no other commissioners. There's a beautiful young lady sitting between Ms. Samuels and Mr. Jenkins. That's not his new personal assistant, but that's our new commission. I guess administrative clerk for the commission office, Ms. Yolanda Moore. And if you, oh my, I told her I was going to embarrass her today. Come down, tell us a little bit about yourself, 30 seconds or so. I think she just started this week, Monday.
I could use a personal
Good afternoon. My name is Yolanda R. Moore. I'm a 2000 undergraduate of Huntington Long Distance Magnet. Attended elementary and middle school at Herndon and preschool at St. Pius. I am a 2004 undergraduate of Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee, where I stayed and was employed with the Department of Children's Services as a legislative liaison. And from there became an executive assistant and then was laid off from the governor's office. I oversaw the governor of Tennessee, who's Phil Bredesen, his mentoring initiative program, which provides children in foster care with adult mentors throughout the state of Tennessee. So I was the administrator over the entire program. Yes, I am 27. I've been told I look like I'm 14, so I'll take that. I am the proud mother of two, Caleb and Kennedy, actively involved in Head Start and Early Head Start, and a member of Stonewall Baptist Church, came from the Mount Zion Baptist Church under the leadership of Bishop Joseph Warren Walker III. And I am elated to be here, and I love government and politics, oversaw and was actively involved in the gubernatorial campaign of Phil Bredesen and the presidential campaign of Al Gore. So I'm a politician rat, sorry. I'm happy to be here. If you all need any assistance that I can do, I'm open to learning, so you know the number.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Madam President, can I have a moment?
I'm sorry.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
Yolanda is, she was one of my Sunday school students, and I'm a Sunday school teacher.
We're not holding that against her.
Okay, but she was trained right.
All right, thank you, Ms. Moore. Okay, next item, Mr. Spears.
I think you'll agree we did well.
You did.
Anyway, next ordinances, new business ordinance 4898, sales adjudicated property. Need a motion to move forward.
Moved by Commissioner Epperson, second by Commissioner Pearson. Any discussion? Please vote. Push one more time, Commissioner. Okay, got it. Okay, next item.
Ordinance 4899, authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with Ida, Town of Ida concerning recreational services.
Move to Thursday.
Moved by Commissioner Dominique, second by Commissioner Smith. Any discussion? Please vote. Sorry.
You have a question? Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, okay.
What exactly are you doing for Ida?
Commissioner Cox.
I didn't push it
Are you-
fast enough, I guess.
What you doing for Ida?
What are we doing for Ida?
Dave's question, and Larry may be able to help us out a little bit more. I think it's something concerning the master plan, public recreation,
you would know.
and there's some money left over. Yeah, some of it's left to work.
Okay, go back to my original question. What is this for?
Yes, the mayor had asked us if we would help them to provide a play system for the town in a town square where they do their community festivals and stuff. And we really don't have anything up in that part of the parish, so that kind of fit in with our master plan, as Mr. Dominic said, in providing community recreation
We're talking about
programs.
master plan, we're talking about for the Parks and Recreation, we're not talking about the master plan of Caddo Parish.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
I think all of it needs to be bundled into one, if you ask me.
Well,
But that's my opinion. All right, thank you, sir.
Thanks to the Carol.
Shoot us on 11?
Hey, and you know I'm sticky with it. I'll even give it to you.
Commissioner Smith, push one more time.
Go up there and eat with us if you want to find out more.
Commissioner Jenkins.
I'm thinking.
Oh, that passes. Next item.
Ordinance 4900 rescinds donation of a 12-acre tract of land from High Performance Motorsports.
So moved. Move to first.
Moved by Commissioner Thibodeau, second by Commissioner Smith. Dominique. Commissioner Jenkins.
I'd like a little more information on this one
Is this
myself.
the on-food?
I believe it's being recommended by the parish attorney.
What was the question?
She needs a little more information.
Well, I figured that.
That's all he said.
Ordinance 4900,
Let me tell you what I know about it, and Mr. Glass may be able to supplement my information. We got a request several months ago from the owner of what is it,
This is the one I was talking about?
Yes.
I said District 12, so I got confused on it. It's actually, is this the one in District 1 then? or-
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tim Wilhite,
The bottom line is at this track up there, in 2001, there was a transaction, and I understand that former Representative Hopkins helped get a cooperative endeavor agreement signed between the parish and the state, whereby the state was going to fund out of capital dollars to the tune of $180-something thousand, some improvements on some land in the vicinity of this tract. And the funds were never, the capital outlay funds never were appropriated. They never got into a high enough classification for the funds for the cooperative endeavor agreement to be funded. But in the meantime, I guess at the time, this was before me, but I guess at the time there was an assumption it was going to be funded, and based upon that assumption, the landowner went on and donated the 12 acres to the parish. And now that, this was 7 or 8 years ago, but the landowner has now asked for a revocation of the donation, and there's a suspensive condition in the donation that I went on and repeated in the ordinance. It says that the donation is made subject to the suspensive condition that the improvements contemplated in that cooperative endeavor agreement must be substantially completed pursuant to plans and specifications. The improvements were never constructed because the capital funds from the legislature were never appropriated, and therefore it's my opinion that under the terms of the suspensive condition, the parish has an obligation to, in effect, revoke the donation of the property by the property owner to us, and he's asked us to do so, and so that's the reason why the proposed ordinance is on your agenda.
Where is this property located? It's up in, can I have the floor around?
Yes,
It's District 12, so that's why I was confused, because Charles and I had talked about this. This is the Gillum Racetrack. It's up in Gillum. There's a racetrack, which is a drag race with vehicles, and it was put up there 7, 8, I don't know, probably 10, 12, 15 years ago. I can't remember, some time ago. And
It's about 8.
there was basically a donation that the parish received a donation under the suspensive condition, and it's your opinion that we are obligated to give it back to them?
Yes, sir, and I think the catalyst for the request today is that the ownership of this High Performance Motorsports LLC has changed hands. I mean, the Wilhites are in the process of selling it to another party, and so this is the basis for us being requested to do this.
Had we done anything with this property while it was in our possession?
Not a thing, sir.
Any idea what they're going to do with it when they get it back?
I can't specifically answer that question, Mr. Jenkins, today, but I can find out for you. I know the property is, in effect, part of the facility that's up there, and rather than tell you something that's not correct, I'd rather just tell you something correct on Thursday.
They get the mineral rights back with this when we transfer?
They do. Of course, this is way north, folks, of any proven Haynesville Shale stuff.
It was outside the zone of the Haynesville Shale?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Of the known boundaries.
Yeah.
Currently known boundaries.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Commissioner Dominique,
I was just trying to let everybody know where it was, and you asked the question, so I've already answered the question to Commissioner Jenkins.
Okay, Commissioner Epperson?
In the timber on it? Is it useless swamp land? What is it? Come on, Robert.
Robert, come on up and answer that Commissioner Epperson's question, please.
Cotton fields and such. It's about 12 acres lies just to the east of the track. They were going to build some kind of a festival plaza with what the original plan was, and because the money was coming from the state, comes from facility and planning, that's just a requirement for them for flow-through money that we have to take title in the land, so we went and did all that, and then the money never showed, so nothing was ever done. And
one thing I neglected to say was under the terms of the cooperative endeavor agreement, which I have read, the improvements were going to be built on the land that we own, and I'm assuming that there was a requirement since the public fund, since the state money was being spent, that it had to be spent on publicly owned land, but the agreement further provided that we were going to then lease the property to the private operator that donated the land to us in the first place, and none of that ever took place.
there's no timber there.
Okay. May I have a copy of the cooperative endeavor?
Yes, sir.
Is it in here?
No, sir, I can email it to you this evening or in the morning.
Yeah, well, if you would, if you haven't got to get a hard copy before I leave, I use up a lot of paper at home. I'll have email.
Yes,
Try to get a hard copy before I leave.
Yes, sir, I can do
Okay.
that.
That's all I have, man.
Okay, let me ask Commissioner, Lord have mercy, Attorney Grubb, the information that you were talking about providing Thursday, is there any way we can get it before Thursday? before Thursday on the minimal rights and...
Yes, sir, yes, ma'am, you want, yes, ma'am, sure.
I don't really want to get it at the meeting. I'd like to have the information ahead of time. Were we able to track down what happened to the money? Because is that normally, what happened to the money that was supposed to be appropriated? I know they do it in priority levels. Do we know what happened to it?
I don't know what happened to it, except that what I was told by, I believe, Mr. Wilhite, was that the money just, it never got into a high enough category, a priority to be appropriated. That's typical down there. It's easy to get money in the capital outlay budget. The question is what, as you said, what funding category it goes into, and it just never got into a funding category that was funded.
Fast piece of money.
Okay. So the plan was for like a festival plaza. Where exactly is this located?
In Gillum.
Oh, it's in, you have some of Yellow in 12?
No,
That's just a typo. That's why I was saying that.
I'm sorry, that's in District 1.
Yeah, that's the confusion. It was in District 12, and I was like, what?
Okay, no, that's not gonna help me, because I don't know much about that area. It's just that it's in Gillum is fine.
Yeah.
But it was gonna be a racetrack. Oh, it already is?
Racetrack.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is some additional land that they were gonna further develop into...
Apparently Festival Plaza, that just never happened because we didn't get, the state money didn't come to go through us, so that they would be able to use Festival Plaza. That's never been built. That's what I'm getting out of this meeting.
Okay, so have we considered doing that, building it out? Did we do that? Have we considered building that out into a Festival Plaza? I mean, was that ever discussed, ever an issue for the commission, or we just kind of forgot
I
about
don't
it?
think it's something we'd want to get into.
Ma'am, all I can tell you is,
private.
all I can tell you is, the first thing I knew about any of this ever was when we got the request for the revocation. So I guess that's a way of answering the question. As far as I know, the last 7 years, there's been no discussion about
Okay, thank you.
about the parish fund.
Commissioner Thibodeau?
I pass.
Commissioner Cox?
Well, when you brought up mineral rights, I was going to ask that if we send this forward to Thursday, it may get to Thursday and be knocked down simply because of the mineral rights. If they were just going to lease the land, why would they be open to the mineral rights is my question for one. And, I mean, I know what they do out there. I've been out there at the races. They put on a great show. They've had concerts out there that didn't really go that good. But other than that, I'd like to know exactly what they're going to do with this from start to finish. Because if you're getting money and mineral rights and all that, I'd like to know what we're going to be getting in return. I mean, just to say, the state didn't do it, now we want it. I need more information. I'll move it to Thursday, but by Thursday, I need some information.
You finished, Commissioner Cox?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Espadé?
I call for the question and the motion.
Please vote.
That's just on the call for the question.
Calling for the question. It passes.
Let's get that here, Mayor.
We're going to vote on the motion.
Yes.
Move to Thursday. That passes. Next item.
1 second. Resolution 30 authorizes Fire District 6 to hold a service charge election.
Move to Thursday.
Second.
Moved by the chair, second by Commissioner Cox. Any discussion? Please vote. That passes. Next item.
Resolution 31 adopts a citizen participation plan for the LCDBG.
Move to Thursday.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Baker, second by Commissioner Pearson. And have a question. Let me get my paper here. Yes, hold on. The dates. I'm looking at the hearing dates. The first public notice hearing, do we have a date for that yet?
Which was Resolution 31?
Yes.
No, we won't have that until after we make the application. This is just the plan for, that we will follow throughout the application process that will allow citizens to participate, and we advertise those public hearings as they are needed throughout the application process.
So what is the deadline for submission of the application?
November, I believe it's November the 28th.
I'm looking on the application number 1. It says the public hearing to address the application submittal will be held well in advance of the deadline for submission.
Right, we had...
November 28th, so have we set a date?
We have had the public hearing for that already. We had it last week. Remember, we've addressed these issues at your last commission meeting, and we had a public hearing at 10 o'clock last Thursday.
Okay.
We notified all of the water, sewer, and fire districts in the parish. We had 3 agencies attend that meeting. It was Water District number 1, Fire District number 2, and Fire District number 6. And we will be bringing their projects before you all at your one of your August meetings. But right now, we only have 2 active requests. So we would be able to apply for both of those, provided no one else is interested, shows an interest prior to that time.
What 2 have submitted? The
Water District number 1 and Fire District number 2. And Water District number 1, both of them are going with the exact same thing that they asked for 2 years ago. Water District number 1, we applied for theirs last funding cycle, and they were 1 award slot out. They would have been awarded if funding had held out, but the funding was all utilized up before, but they were next in line to be funded. And Fire District number 2 is going to ask for their same project that they asked for last time too, and that's water service in the MLK area, I believe. But they will be here, the agencies will be here at the meeting in August to elaborate their projects with you.
Did they get a high enough score on what they submitted last time?
Water District 1, the Fire District 2 we didn't apply for. We applied for Sewer District 8 and Water District 1 2 years ago, and both of them scored very well. Sewer District 8 was awarded, and Water District 1 scored very well. It's just the funding, they didn't have enough funding to award all of their top scores.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Commissioner Thibodeau?
I'd like to englobe the remaining resolutions down through resolution number 35 to move to Thursday.
Second.
Okay. Resolutions 31 through 35.
Correct.
Commissioner Escaday?
If you want to englobe it, then I want to speak on one of them. And that is, well, it doesn't have a number. You want to go through 35?
Correct.
Yeah. 35. I had a question about one of them. No. Sorry,
Well, you'll come back to it. I have a question on 32.
Okay.
While you think
I'm good,
about it.
thank you.
Oh, okay, you're good. Gosh, can you find me? Got a question here.
Carry it, and then, call for the question.
Question number 32?
Yeah, I think it was, who's going to, I think the question I had was how does this work, I guess? How does it exactly flow?
Number 32 is, the entire resolution is dealing with procurement procedures, and basically it just says that we're going to follow the bid law in procuring any contractors, any services that would be awarded if we were awarded one of our applications.
Okay, so when we did the one 2 years ago for District 8.
Right, we just had the public bid for that particular project several weeks ago, and that is in the award process at this time.
Okay, so their entity actually does all the procurement, or does the...
No, we do it. We're responsible for procurement because we're the applicant.
Okay, so does that come under Jack? or
Yes,
you
it
do
does.
that?
It comes through Jack's office.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner McCullough?
I wanted some explanation for resolution number 34. Authorizing the parish administrator to request engineer's qualifications.
That is also in conjunction with the LCDBG program. We are required to advertise for engineers' qualification statements, and they have to send those statements in to us, and we score them. And all of that is done prior to our application process, so we have an engineer that's ready to go if a project is funded. And if a project is not funded, then their qualification statements are just null and void, and we don't enter into a contract with them.
You say we, the parish?
The parish. We're the applicant agency, so we're responsible for all contracts associated with the grant. But everything associated with the grant is paid for with the grant funds. It's not anything out of our budget. If we're awarded the grant pays for the engineer, they pay for the consultant, and they pay for any of the contracting work done.
So we have selected an engineer?
No, we haven't. We have to pass this resolution that just authorizes us to advertise for those qualification statements, to accept those qualification statements in our office. It's just a CDBG requirement that we have a resolution on file. When they come to monitor our grant at the end of the grant period, they look to see that we've passed all these documentations and that we've advertised everything appropriately.
Okay.
Let me ask you on that. Now, who actually evaluates the qualifications? Is that done by you?
The administrative consultant and myself. The state sets a scoring criteria, and that's outlined in the resolution.
Who's our administrative consultant?
We proposed Equipment and Development Corporation, Mr. Reiser, that was here at your previous meeting.
Okay, right. All right, thank you. Commissioner Jenkins, I see his thing, but he's left out. I don't know. Yolanda. Yep, do you see Commissioner Jenkins?
He probably changed his mind.
You may have changed his mind. Let's move to Thursday. You had your item punch.
Which one is resolution?
Never mind.
Okay. Let's vote.
You have a card, you have a check.
What?
You know the card.
Just one more time, Commissioner.
So everybody start talking on before we share the money.
Okay, that passes. Next item?
I was distracted by my tape machine. Are we down to 13? Special resolution declaring Eat Dinner with Your Children Day. You ain't got no children.
So, Merle? Well, coming over to your house. What when you don't have any children? What about people
I'm
who have any children?
cooking, that's all I got to say.
Are you
Moved by Commissioner Epperson, second by Commissioner Lynn.
Been trying to get it in.
Mine's even my house too much now.
You let somebody else house say,
I'm sure you have to do what you can try to get them
Okay, thank you, that passes. Next item.
Authorize the appointment of Ricky Hall and Jerry Thomas to the North Shreveport Industrial Park Supervisory Board.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner McCullough, second by Commissioner Epperson. Any discussion? Please vote. Okay, that passes. Next item.
Authorized travel for Margaret Thomas of Juvenile Services Fall Festival Cotillion to attend the NACO Achievement Award Ceremony.
Move to Thursday.
Moved by Commissioner Lynn, second by the chair. Commissioner Lynn?
I was going to speak out on behalf of this. There's been, I know, a lot of discussions. I wanted to let everybody know what this exactly was about. The Juvenile Services, the cotillion that they have teaches juveniles that have gone through the juvenile detention facility a lot of skills that they have not learned at home. This has been going on now for 8 years. It was initiated and is still chaired by the past, the immediate past head of parole, Margaret Thomas. She recently retired from Caddo Parish Juvenile Detention Facility. This is going to teach children how to do a resume, and these are things that a lot of people take for granted, that when you go to work, you put a clean body in clean clothes, you don't put a dirty body in clean clothes, and you don't put a clean body in dirty clothes. And how to open the door for people, that when you sit down at the dinner table that you're wearing a shirt, that you eat with a knife and a fork when it constitutes eating with a knife and a fork, how to use a napkin, how to be polite, how to be friendly to each other. And if you're a 13-year-old or a 12-year-old that's giving birth, and when you were born, that's what you were raised on, to pass this on. And so this is an opportunity for you to learn. I have attended one of the classes. I learned a lot, and I've also gone to the graduation, and the graduation went really well, and that was quite a sight to see. One of the things that was brought up initially to my attention, that even though we didn't have somebody from the juvenile detention facility that was going to go, and that we were going to send somebody that was technically not employed by the Caddo Parish, that it was against the law, unless, for lack of a better word, that it turned to profit, that we were able to show that if we were to send anybody that wasn't employed by Caddo Parish to this meeting in Nashville, that we could show that by sending them, that Caddo Parish would benefit, that we would do well because of sending them to this. And I'm grateful for Attorney Grubb to bringing that to my attention, because bringing that to my attention made it even easier. Number one, the person that we're sending the chair of this is a volunteer. The people that she will be seeing there, there's hundreds of counties across the nation that have adopted the juvenile cotillion program. Caddo Parish and the current chair of this event were the initiator of this program. They're going to be able to meet with other counties and parishes that have implemented the program that we originated, and they'll be able to use them as a feeding soundboard. Well, you initiated it, but we've done X, Y, and Z on top of your A, B, and C, and so whoever we send will be able to take this information back. The chairperson for the juvenile cotillion will be able to take this information that they learned from meeting with other people in Nashville back to Shreveport, back to Caddo Parish, and implement their new ideas into the Caddo Parish program. And so thank you, Attorney Grubb, for bringing that to my attention, because I think that if there's any reason to send somebody, it would be for the information that they would gather from networking with people from other counties and trading names and phone numbers, so that they can take the original idea that they had and the new ideas that people have added to it, and then make our program even better. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Commissioner Escudé and Cox?
I totally disagree with Commissioner Lynn. This is a misallocation of public funds. It's total bull. This program was started by a parish employee with the sanctioning of the parish administration. So it's bigger than the individual. It's like all the work of the good employees of the parish. It's property of the parish. I think many of you will be at the NACO convention, so certainly our president could receive the award on behalf of this. I just don't see how this meets a public purpose when we send someone who is not a contracted employee, not employed, not any relation other than a volunteer, and there are many people that volunteer at the parish, to accept an award. How does that return on the taxpayer's investment? How does it fix a pothole or a road or spray for mosquitoes or anything? How do you go back to your constituents with any clear conscience and say, yeah, I'm watching your money? You can't. If we go ahead and every time the fruits of our past employees should bear some more extraordinary fruit, and go to send them off to wherever this may be recognized, or if they're not available, try to dig up their bones, and if that's not possible, find their nearest relatives, well, we're going to go broke. I've been very supportive of additional travel with regards to juvenile the last couple of years, so that the commissioners who are truly have a passion for this can get that thing in shape, and they have. But then you put me in a position dealing something like this, and it has nothing to do with the program or the individuals, but in my view is a total misappropriation of public money
And it makes me just, not want to do anything in the future, because we shouldn't even have to be asking this question. I don't agree with it. I don't think it serves a public purpose. You can sugarcoat it any way you want to. People volunteer all the time. They volunteer at the animal shelter. They do all kinds of things. That's just part of the community service. We have an individual who represented this parish and this state and this country in the Olympics, whose mother actually was his employee, and there's no move to send him with parish funds. You would want to bring recognition and credit and something back to the parish, that in a big scale, probably a lot more than this would. If you can actually go to bed at night, you think this is not a waste of the taxpayers' money, this is what you're here for, fine. If not, I tell you what, I'm at you guys dollar for dollar if you think it's so important to send this individual to this dog and pony show. But decide what you want to do, but I'm not going to support it. Thank you.
Commissioner Cox?
I hate to be a dead horse, but Ms. Margaret Thomas probably did a fine job for us with her time here. But I too will vote against this, simply because we are going there to go to workshops and bring something constructive back. I cannot push this forward and see it going through to Thursday, knowing that how many days is she going to be up there? She's up there for 4 or 5 or 6 days.
Oh, it's a day and a half.
Okay, well, that's a hotel and cab and all that. I mean, those trips I didn't go on to. So this is a bad investment, I would say, and we should have already gotten the certificate or something from NACO on this, haven't we? Or have we not?
Yeah, they said.
We've already got
This is
it.
the award ceremony.
Okay, I can understand that.
Right.
And I will agree with Mr. Escalade, you as our president, we would support you bringing that plaque back, coming to here, inviting her down, give her the key to the parish for the day, telling her job well done, and we appreciate it, and we are growing even after she was gone. But to do this, it sends the wrong message, plain and simple. There's certain things I would agree on when we're sending people out of town. When we send streets and drainage or anybody like that that's in a department that are going for a purpose, do not send somebody who's not only not a part of the parish anymore to receive a plaque when we can give it to her here. Then if it's a plaque for a program, does it go with her or does it come back to the parish? I'd say it goes back to the parish to be displayed either where she started it or whatever. It's just a bad idea, and I'm going to leave it at that and vote against it today. Thank you.
Commissioner Dominique?
And I don't know who can answer this, there's apparently an award being given. Is that what she's going to go up there for? Is she going to learn or be able to bring anything back? I mean, what is she going to be able to bring back to the parish? I guess I have to answer that.
Commissioner Lynn?
I mean, she's only going up there for a day and a half, I mean, attending this one seminar.
She would be going up there for a day and a half and would be meeting with other police jurors, commissioners of the sort across the country that have also implemented the program that she originated. And I anticipate that she would bring ideas from them back to Louisiana to implement them. She is currently a volunteer. Though she is not paid by Caddo Parish, she is working for Caddo Parish. This particular group, we're very fortunate to have them in that they have been entirely self-funded since their origination 8 years ago. And she has been the principal fundraiser for this group. And so she has raised money and brought all the money to constitute this program. And so when she goes there, she will be pulling ideas from other communities and what they have done with the program, and then bring those ideas back.
What about, Mr. Gore, what is your legal opinion on that? The more I got to thinking about this, is it legal to send a volunteer up to, I mean, what Mr. Lynn said, is that correct, or what was your words as far as legal opinion as far as sending a volunteer to NACO, I guess?
The only thing I can tell you, Commissioner, is that it's, any expenditure of public funds has to be for a public purpose. That's a bedrock provision, Louisiana Constitution. But I think it's up to this commission to determine determine whether or not a public purpose is served by sending this individual to the conference. It's not that's a question for y'all to decide.
I just, Mr. Lynn, you and I talked, I guess, last month about it, but had some concerns about it.
The original reason why I was wanting to send her has changed after I received counsel from Attorney Grubb, and the reason is that there is a public higher good served. There is a public service that is served, and the service is that when she is at this committee with all the people from all over the United States that have utilized the program that she originated, they're going to come to her and say, we've done this and we've done that, and these are new ideas that we've implemented, and you might be A, B, and C, and we've done X, Y, and G, and she can pull these new ideas back and implement them when she's volunteering her time to administer and be the chair of this program.
How about further?
Did I hit you down to speak, or you?
That's it, I've already said it. Thank you.
Commissioner Baker?
Well, one of my questions was answered when Attorney Grubb answered the legalities of the volunteer attendant, but Commissioner Lynn, is it anybody else that can attend? Is she the only one that can attend? She's the only one working this program? No one else can go that actually works for the juvenile justice and juvenile services that can go and...
She is the chair, and, let me see if she's out here, and I'll put her on the spot. I'll ask Mariel Burns to come on up here. And that would be, my understanding is, for the wonderful job that Mariel Burns does for Caddo Parish Juvenile Detention Facility, and I think she's a wonderful person, you can only stack so much on one person's plate, and I think that Mariel Burns' plate is full. And we're very lucky to have Margaret Thomas as a volunteer implementing this program, and to take this program that Margaret Thomas does for free and stick it on Mariel Burns' plate would be an injustice. And why send, for instance, Mariel Burns up to NACO to receive this when the information gathered is information that's going to do Margaret Thomas good, not Mariel Burns good?
And I understand what you're saying, but my point is this, that nothing in this city or parish is a secret, and everything we do is out in the open, even our personal financial statuses.
Yeah.
Open through the state of Louisiana. So what I'm saying is that we want to put this out in the public, that we are actually sending a volunteer on a trip when even our travel becomes news information to the city of Shreveport and the parish of Caddo. So do we want in this also travel report that's going to be publicized that we are sending a volunteer worker on an actual trip to receive an award, in which they could do two things. They could, number one, get us a bad reputation in the city and the parish, and number two, I'm thinking, and this has just been talking, that it could possibly open up doors for other people that volunteer to do things for the parish, saying, well, okay, I volunteered and I got this service started, so I want to go on a conference, so that's the only thing I'm saying. And that's my only concerns that I'm having about, as far as actually not voting for Ms. Thomas today, because of the fact that we're such a spotlight board at this time, and they're looking at us with every T and every dot. And we have to watch.
May I answer that, Madam President?
I mean, if she's asking you a question.
Okay, all right. I am very comfortable looking anybody that would ever vote for me in the eye and tell them why I would vote to send Margaret Thomas on this event. Number one being that the volunteer hours that she puts into this program more than constitute making a profit off of spending $2,000 for a hotel for one night and an airplane ticket, or less than $2,000. And so if you're looking at turning a profit off of a human's volunteer work, the profit is clearly there. As far as sending her there to receive an award, I don't look at it as sending her there to receive an award. I look at it as sending her there to gather more information so that she can implement her program in a more productive manner. That she can take the information gathered there and apply it to the program that she originated, and that she can make a good program better.
And that's good, and I understand you, and I understand your thoughts and what you're saying. It's good, you understand, but, and I hope you understand what I'm saying, is that, everybody's not gonna understand that, what you're saying, and everybody's not gonna agree to that part, so.
Okay.
That's just my point and my reason, and actually, my reason why it's a possibility that I may not support this.
My Lord.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
All right. I thought I was going to need you. I apologize for calling you up here anyway.
You may not need to go too far, Muriel, you may not need to go too far. Let me, I thought I had sent the abstract of the program to everybody, but I'm trying to get back in my mind, and I don't think I got it to Rita to send to everybody. But, you can have a seat, I'm just going to kind of give a little bit more background to this particular program, as well as the other program that was submitted. I don't think, I'll say in the 6 years that I've been here, our travel has always been an issue in the press. And I don't think that has prevented us not one time from going to Hawaii and anywhere else in good faith and being able to, as being the leaders that we are, being able to justify what we do on behalf of the citizens of Caddo Parish. That's never been an issue for this body, no matter what has been printed in the paper. And so I don't really see that as an issue for us, even in all our governing, despite whatever criticisms that have been levied against this body. We have continued to do nothing but continue to rise to the top as far as governing bodies in this region and in this parish. This is the first time that Caddo has applied for any NACO national awards. This is the first time out in applying that we were recognized for 2 programs that were both initiated, founded by parish employees. They don't just give out NACO awards. I think you all know that. And Ms. Thomas has, as Commissioner Lynn said, was the founder and the chairperson of this program. It's not a program that does not still exist. It is an ongoing program. The public benefit of this program does not stop just because she is no longer employed with the parish. She's continuing to work with this program, and it is something that's going to be ongoing. We're talking about a lot of programs that didn't get funded and different things like that are going on. But the fact of the matter is that the entire funding for this program, that money did not come out of parish funds. That money was raised by Ms. Thomas, who used her family, friends, volunteers, and everybody else to benefit the children who were involved in the juvenile system that came through our system. And so when we got the notice on the day that we had actually received the award, I called Muriel to congratulate her, and I was telling her about the award ceremony and all of that. And the first thing out of her mouth was, if anybody deserves to be there at this ceremony, it's Ms. Thomas. Is that not right? That's the first thing that you said. I don't think there was ever an issue about us having a representative there on behalf of the Juvenile Services Department. The $1,200 is something that's going to be spent whether Ms. Thomas goes or whether Ms. Barnes goes. But there should be a representative there from the department. And so that's how this whole thing kind of came about as to who would go to represent that department in receiving the award. Ms. Burns, I just want to make sure I'm getting the words right. Can you kind of give us a little background, because I know you all worked together on that proposal that was submitted, and even after Margaret was retired, she was still working on it.
That's true. We were actually asked to submit the proposal to NACO in December. And we began in December working several times a week to put together all the different requirements of that particular proposal. We also had to gather pictures from past pageants, and also a copy of souvenir books, and we also put together a DVD that had to be sent. And at that time, Margaret was retired. We would get together after hours. Many times it was 7 o'clock at night to 9, 10 o'clock at night to make sure that whatever needed to be done, and also that we met the deadline and got all the information in on time. So, yes, she did put in time even after being
Because I
retired.
know that we were talking about this program this year.
Yes.
Because is it an annual program or is it every other year?
It's going to be every other year.
But I'm saying initially.
Initially, it was annually.
Okay.
But as the program grew, initially, we had maybe 20 girls, and that was in 2000. 2001, we may have had 25. But as the numbers grew, last year, when we actually began the preparation, which is a 2-month preparation up until the actual culmination of the program, we had 100 kids. And that's a lot of children to see every Thursday, to actually make sure that you have snacks for, to make sure you have different speakers to come in and talk to a group of boys and a group of girls. And so it was very time consuming. And so we decided that instead of having something every year, we would have something every other year.
Okay, that was after, now that Miss Margaret is retired, and if you have to do it, it's going to be
Margaret's gonna do it.
every other year.
It's going to be every other year.
Okay. All right, thank you. Commissioner Cox?
Call for the question.
Second.
Motion on call for the question. Please vote. That passes. Motion on the floor is to move it to Thursday. Right. Vote. That passes. Next item.
Yes, okay. Appoint an individual to serve as Caddo's representative on the Sparta Groundwater Conservation District Commission.
Move to Thursday now, to the second one. Second. This gentleman's name is Phil Lane. Most of you already know him. He's been before the commission several times concerning water, so not only does he give us his private time and study to it, he's well versed in it.
Motion to appoint Phil Lane to serve on the Sparta Groundwater Conservation District. Please vote. Move to Thursday. Want to make sure we get his name in there for Thursday. Next item.
Appoint Jordan Roundtree to Fire District 2 to replace Donna Smith.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner McCullough, second by Commissioner Lynn. Any discussion? Please vote. Let's see. Consent agenda, Commissioner Lynn.
Yes, I'd like to add something to the agenda for next Thursday. If we could, to please add, bring up to add Shreveport's Yvonne Lee to come and speak.
It's a motion to reconsider. Second. Discussion, please vote.
Didn't we vote on this earlier?
Asking for a motion to reconsider, so you have to vote to allow that motion, and then we'll vote on the other motion.
Okay. This is a motion to reconsider his previous motion to allow the representative from Shreveport to speak on Thursday's agenda. Okay, passes.
I'd like to make a motion that we allow Yvonne Lee with Shreveport to speak next Thursday.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Lynn, second by the chair. It's Commissioner McCullough.
No, I had something else in
All right, please vote. Okay, that passes. Commissioner McCullough.
I needed to get permission to bring up an item under new business. Is that where we are?
Yes, ma'am.
In reference to North Shreveport Industrial Park.
Second.
Okay, hold on. Wilson, hold on.
Whoa, we got to vote on that. Yeah, it got to be unanimous.
Okay, so that,
To do what with the...
Wants to expand the agenda.
Wanted to bring up North Shreveport Industrial Park.
I want to expand the agenda to bring up
Right.
something,
Yeah.
new business.
related to North
Under new
Shreveport
business.
Industrial Park.
Yeah.
Okay, please vote.
Mr. Mr. Wilson and Attorney Grubb.
Excuse me, Commissioner McCullough, because it has to be unanimous. Commissioner Smith, push your button. Sure, okay, thank you. Now,
Okay. In regards to the most recent contract with Weyerhaeuser, it's my understanding that the young man was going to go back and reconstruct the contract. Has he completed that?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Lehman, but we have not yet received that contract from Weyerhaeuser.
We have not, but I forwarded the information that it should be Al's name with his signature and forwarded his address. So in there, I'm not sure if it'll come back to us or go directly to the
So you forwarded to the president? You forwarded to his address here in Shreveport, or? You have it?
address we had on record.
All right, thank you. That's all I have.
Got my thing.